Assalamu alaikum, wonderful humans. Welcome to another episode of That Behavior Change Show with yours truly, Stress Hat. Okay, so before I start this episode, and the episode is going to be a little bit research heavy, not too much, but just I'm going to bringing in some science to it. You know how we like science, right? I wanted to first start with an interesting conversation, a debate, however you want to call it, that I had earlier this week. And this conversation really reminded me of why I don't like being in Facebook groups, especially groups that talk about weight loss and fat loss. Now, as a business person, those groups are probably the best place for me to be in because it's where I could get clients. But I haven't built up the patience yet and the calmness to be in those groups yet. It's a work in progress. But here's what happened. A lady had asked a question, about how to lose weight and that she's tried stuff before, but they haven't worked. And she was looking for something sustainable. Now, whenever I see a question like that in a Facebook group, I don't even look at the comments because they usually frustrate me. The advice that's usually given, it frustrates the heck out of me. But the reason I looked at this post is because somebody recommended my work. Somebody said, hey, look up Yusra's hack, she'll help you, XYZ, because this amazing woman had worked with me before. She got amazing results. So somehow, as I was responding to this tag, I looked at a few comments. And one of the comments that I see often from this person is very much, carbohydrates are going to kill you, sugar is going to kill you, you need to cut that out. Now, as I said, usually I don't respond, but I guess that morning I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe I chose violence. I don't know. Allah ya'lam. But I thought, you know what? Today is the day where I'm going to speak up because as someone who helps people change their nutrition, right, and their movement abilities, but also comes from the behavioral and psychological perspective, I see so much harm being done by this kind of advice, by telling people cut out carbohydrates, right? Sugar is going to kill you. Cut out all these foods that you enjoy and you love, foods that may remind you of your mom's cooking or your grandmother's cooking. Cut it all out. I mean, how do we see that as sustainable, right? This lady went on to say, hey, it worked for me, it worked for some of the people that I coached. Great. Here's this thing. I'm not saying cutting out carbohydrates is not going to work. Of course it is, because you're removing calories, and losing weight is very much calories in, calories out type of an equation. But within that equation, right, there's so much that is happening when it comes to people's ability to reduce those calories. As an example, if I use myself as an example, if somebody tells me, Yusra, I need you to cut out cakes and cookies, right? I could easily do that. Do you know why I can easily do that? Because I don't like cookies and sweet stuff anyway. So for me, making that choice is going to be easy. I can cut that out. And if I cut that out, I may lose weight. Why? Because I'm reducing the calories, right? But if you give the same exact advice to someone who loves cakes, who loves cookies, how long do you think they can stick with that, right? Before they give up and go binge on all of these things. Right? So this kind of generic, random, out of the blue advice when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to nutrition, that does not consider the person's experience, the person's state of mental health, what the person has tried, what do they like, what don't they like, well, what are the long-term goals, what are the current health conditions, physiological, right, that may be experiencing. When it ignores all of that and we go on to you have to cut this out, it can be really harmful. Right? The majority of people who I work with and that I see online have so much disordered eating. Why? Because of generic, random, blanket advice like this. It messes up people's relationship with food. So if you're someone who's struggling with your weight loss, you're trying to be healthier and fitter, and the things that you've tried, you've found them to not be aligned to your lifestyle, right? Please don't go on Facebook and ask a bunch of random people, hey, how can I lose weight? Don't do that to yourself, because the advice that you may follow, right, even if it's going to allow you to lose weight for a short period of time, it may cause damage long term. It may cause damage long term, not just your physical health, but your mental health and your relationship with food, especially. So yeah, so I don't usually respond to threads like that, but this week I was like, you know what, I need to say something, because I see so many women being stuck, right, because of strategies that they shouldn't be engaged in the first place, strategies that are so not aligned with their health and well-being and their lifestyles as busy women, right? But anyway, that's a whole other different story. So today we are going to talk about one of my favorite theories on behavior change. And why do I love this theory so much? I'm going to kind of merge it with my story. My story, you probably heard it before, but I'll share it again. Okay, so when I started this around almost 10 years ago, Alhamdulillah, I had a lot of nutrition knowledge. I was a qualified personal trainer. I had a small gym in Tanzania, right? Because that's where I started. That's where I built my business in East Africa. I had a cute gym, something small, right? Athletes used to come and I used to coach them, I used to train them. And these women got incredible results, subhanAllah. Like, they were not only losing weight, because weight is not the only thing I focus on, right? They felt energetic, they felt good, they felt happy, right? Their health was improving aside from the weight. Those who had pre-diabetes, it started to improve. Those who had PCOS, it was improving. They're starting to manage their lives, right, in a way that they were happy with. And then I had to come back to England, which means a lot of my work had to move online, right? And, online is not for everybody, and that's okay. Online is not for everybody. Some people just need to see that person in front of them, and that is okay, right? So the people who couldn't join online with me, a lot of them ended up stopping their journey altogether. They didn't go to find somebody else, so they stopped their journey altogether. And then I came to find out later on, the majority of them had put the weight back on. And I'm talking about people who've lost 10, 12, 15 kilos. They worked so hard, right, to be in a weight that they felt good in, felt strong in, right? And then they regained it back. And for me, I didn't understand that very well. Like, why after so much hard work, why that even though you feel amazing now, why would you sabotage those results? Do you know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what? I need to understand the the psychological side of this journey, because clearly the nutrition part was on point, the exercise was fine, but what is happening here, right, mentally, that makes people stop and revert back to their old habits. That's when I started to get into behavior change, right? I started to learn about behavior change in the influence of our psychology, right? When it comes to all these goals. And, that's where I came across all these theories. And then, of course, I took my master's degree in psychology just so I can serve people better. And this is where the theory came up, and it's called the self-determination theory. Now, this theory states that for people to build long-term behaviors, to build long-term habits, they need three things. Okay, number one, they need to have autonomy. They need to be able to make their own choices, right? They need to be free to decide what the next action steps is, right? So they need to have autonomy. They need to feel in charge and in control of their journey. The second thing that people need is they need to feel competent, right? It's almost like, yes, I can do this. I've got this, right? The third thing that people need to feel is belongingness. They need to feel like they belong in that place. And subhanallah, when I came across this theory, I was like, oh my God, that is exactly how my business is structured, because that is exactly how I'm able to help people bring the shifts that they want in their lives. Because here's the thing, a lot of actions that people take out there, they're very much about do this, don't do that, here's a meal plan, go eat. It's almost like somebody else is telling them what to do, right? And they don't understand why they're doing it. They don't understand why am I eating this much. They don't understand why I have to exercise, right? So let's talk a bit deeper about this theory. So when it comes to the first point is autonomy. For someone to change, for someone to build healthy habits, they need autonomy. They need to be able to make decisions by themselves, decisions that are aligned to their goals. But here's the thing, the only way a person can make a decision that is aligned to their goals is by them having the knowledge of how I can make these decisions, right? Is the only way is for them to be able to bring some flexibility, because as busy women that I mostly work with, and not every day is the same. Today could be nice, easy peasy. Tomorrow, oh my goodness, the boiler is broken, a kid is unwell, this happened and that happened, right? And if we want to make this a lifestyle, we need to adapt strategies today of, okay, this is happening to me today. How can I be healthy today? Right? The only way they're going to know what to do, right, and take control and make those decisions is if they have the knowledge behind that. And this is why one of the key things in what I do with my clients is I educate them, right? Because the more knowledge you have, the more tools you have in the toolbox, the more adaptable you'll be and the more flexible you'll be. The biggest issue with meal plans can work for people, great, but guess what? When you go out for dinner, right, and the foods that you're used to eating in your meal plans aren't available in the restaurant, what do you do then, right? When you're invited to a place, what do you do then? When you travel, what do you do then? So if you don't know how to say, you know what, I don't have a meal plan today, but I know I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going to do this and this and pick and this and that because this is still aligned to my goals, then yeah, you're being adaptable. But you're not going to be able to do those things if you don't have the knowledge behind it. So the biggest thing that is important for you, if you're on this journey, build a basic understanding of how you can be flexible with your nutrition, how you can be flexible with your exercise, how you can adapt it based on the circumstances of your life on that day, right? And the only way that you're going to know that is by, again, educate yourself, right? So that, again, like life is not linear. Our lives are like that. They're up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And you need to be able to adjust accordingly if this is going to be a lifestyle. So autonomy, right? People having control, people being able to make decisions and not depending on somebody else to make decisions on their behalf is absolutely key, because guess what? There may not be that other person who tells you what to do. You're going to have to know what to do, okay? And make the right decisions for yourself based on informed choices, okay? The second thing that people need is competence. And I talk about this so much because here's the thing. Whenever a new athlete joins my team, I usually ask them, so how many exercises do you think you want to do a week? They usually go 5 or 6. And I'm like, okay, can you confidently tell me that you can hit 5 exercises a week, 100%? Then they're like, let's maybe do 2. I'm like, great, 2 is a great start. Because here's the thing. If when you're starting a journey, you have these massive goals, which a lot of us do, right? We have these massive goals. We want to change all the things. I'm going to change my nutrition. I'm going to change my exercise. I'm going to move a lot. I'm going to cut this out and cut that out and cut that out. And then what tends to happen is, of course, it's too much and we can't do it. As a result, we feel, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too hard. It's too much effort. It's too difficult, right? So your feelings towards your competence and your ability to actually take those actions gets reduced. And the more it gets reduced, the more discouraged you become, and eventually you stop. So one of the key things whenever you're starting your journey is you want to start from a place that you're sure that you can action. You want to put in steps. Don't put 100 steps in the list. Just think about what is the one thing that I can work on this week, right? Because I know I can work on this thing. I can focus on it. At the end of the week, I'm going to feel like, yes, I've got it. I can do it, right? And when you feel competent, when you take actions that you're sure that you can action, basically, it builds your library of evidence of, yeah, you've got this. Because chances are a lot of us who've tried programs before and have failed, we have a whole library of evidence that reminds us of how we can't do it. Why? Because we didn't take into account the competence factor. We just jumped in, right, in the deep end, and we tried to do all the things. And of course, it got too hard because you're trying to do too much. And then you feel like, oh, I can't do it. You get discouraged, you stop. So a lot of us have this library of evidence that reminds us of how we can't do it. So what you want to do is start building a library of evidence that reminds you of you've got this and you can do it. And the way to do that is start slow. Start from a place where you feel competent to put those plans into actions. Slowly, one step at a time. This is why we say, hey, we don't take big leaps, we take small steps, because the more small steps you take, the higher the chances of you being able to take them in a way that you're happy with and you're confident in, and the more evidences that you're building in your library, right? And then as it becomes easier, you'll be able to challenge yourself more and more and more. So feeling competent in this journey is so important in your ability to stay on the journey, right? Towards your change, right, towards the behaviors that you want to build, towards the habits that you want to build. But if you try to change too many things at once, it gets really hard and you stop and give up altogether. Okay, so that's where the competence factor comes in. The third thing is belongingness. This journey can be so lonely sometimes because not a lot of us are on it. A lot of people that I work with, their families don't even know that they're working with me because there's this sense of shame and judgment. Oh my God, you're spending that much on a coach, really, on your health? Just go on YouTube, they're free videos. As if it's just about the knowing. Like, look, you can know everything. You can know everything about nutrition, you can know everything about exercise, and still not be able to implement those things, still not be able to action the knowledge that you know. Why? Because there's so much that comes into play in your ability to take action more than just the knowing, right? So what then tends to happen is when you're doing it by yourself and you don't have a strong support system around you, you're just hearing other people's voices. And this journey is not easy. It's not easy, right? Psychologically, it's not easy. So when you're not having, because here's the thing, because of the library of evidence that we spoke about before, chances are a lot of the time your a belief in your ability to get the results that you want is low anyway, right? And then you have people around you who keep telling you that you can't do it because, you're going on another diet, or you're wasting money, or this or that, right? They discourage you even more, and eventually you stop and give up, right? But when you have a strong support system, when you have other voices that are encouraging you, that are walking alongside you, right, that are cheering you on, it makes such a huge difference. It makes, like, the majority of people who work in my programs, we talk about what happened previously and why they didn't get results, and one of the key factors is the lack of support. And people say there's a few studies that say, 80% of diets don't work. No, it's not that 80% of diets don't work. If someone chooses to go on a diet, it can work. But what's lacking is the support system. People are not supported the way they deserve to be supported in order to get the results that they want long term. So feeling like you belong somewhere, no matter what is going on outside, no matter what is going on around you, knowing that, you know what, I can go back to this place, to my people, to my tribe. They get me, they understand the challenges, they understand the ups and downs. It's a safe space. They don't judge me. That can make such a huge difference. And that is why we have the Brave Space. It's our exclusive WhatsApp group where everybody I'm coaching around the world, I think we're at 13, 14 countries now, they're all in one place, and we cheer each other on, we support each other, right? And it's such just stepping back and looking at it, it's mind blowing how you can have a bad day or horrible day, and then you log on there and you see everybody doing things, encouraging each other, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go for that walk after all. Right? Why? Because you went in and you saw people doing things and they encouraged you, and that got you to get up. Because a lot of times in this journey, you're going to have to do things that you really don't want to do, but you know you should do them for your health. And if we're by ourselves, it's so easy for us to make excuses. We believe our own thoughts, right? Why? Because they're ours. But when you have this support system, and they encourage you to do stuff, right? It's like a soundboard, it's like a voice other than yours. Do you know what I mean? And that is important. So you get up and it allows you to do these things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. Okay, so if you're someone who's trying to achieve a specific goal, no matter what it is, whether a business goal, or you want to build muscle, or a health goal, or you want to, inshallah, memorize the Quran, whatever it may be, right? Whatever it may be, make sure you don't underestimate the power of these three things. Number one, understand it, learn about it so you can make your own decisions, so that you can feel in control of the journey. Don't depend on somebody else to just spoon feed you information. Take time to understand it yourself. The second thing is one step at a time. What this is going to do is going to help you feel competent. And in the process, you're going to be able to build that library of evidence that reminds you, yep, you've got this, you can do this, you've got the brains to do this, you have the ability to achieve these goals, right? And number three, find your tribe, find a support system, find a community, whether it's offline, whether it's online, whatever that may look like for you, but find it. Don't be on this journey by yourself, because it can be the difference between getting the results that you want and not getting the results that you want. Okay, my lovelies. And of course, if there's anything that I can help you with and support you with, don't hesitate to reach out through my social media, through my email, through Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff, which I'm going to put the descriptions of under this podcast. Okay, until next time, salam alaikum.